You are living in a body built by someone you've never actually met. The person you were at age 2 has been professionally erased from your brain. It wasn't a glitch, it was a tactical deletion, and it happened to all of us. Quick question, do you remember your first birthday? How about your second? Can you recall the specific texture of the carpet you crawled on? Or the moment you realized that a cat was the word for the small tiger living in your house? Statistically speaking, you can't. If you think you do, you're likely remembering a photograph, or a story your parents told you so many times it feels like a memory. But the actual first-person footage? It's gone. The average human doesn't form a retrievable, autobiographical memory until about the age of 3.5. For some, it's even later. It's a phenomenon with a slightly unsettling name, infantile amnesia. And it presents us with a strange paradox. We consider our memories to be the bedrock of our identity, the story of us. Yet, the opening chapters of that story, the years where we learn to walk, talk, love, and fear, are effectively blank. So, where did that data go? Was it deleted? Was it ever recorded in the first place? Or is it still in there, lurking in the deep storage of your brain, waiting for a password that you lost 40 years ago? Let's find out. And a quick note before we dive in, if this kind of content is your thing, please consider subscribing. The common assumption about childhood amnesia is pretty straightforward. We tend to think that babies are just unfinished. We assume their brains are like computers running on operating systems that are still in beta. The hardware's there, but the save game feature hasn't been coded yet. And to a certain extent, that makes sense. If you have ever watched a toddler try to put a square peg in a round hole for 20 minutes, you know they aren't exactly operating at peak efficiency. But here's the thing. Babies are actually learning machines. They are absorbing data at a rate that would melt an adult brain. They learn to recognize faces. They learn the laws of physics. Gravity makes things fall. Fire is hot. The dog does not want to be ridden like a horse. These are memories. Specifically, they are implicit memories. They are procedural. They are feelings and skills. The problem isn't that a child's brain can't store information. It's that it can't seem to store episodic or autobiographical information. This is the mental time travel that allows you to replay your first day of high school or that time you tripped in public. So, we have a brain that is rapidly building a model of the world, yet it refuses to keep a diary of the construction process. It's like building a skyscraper but throwing away the blueprints as you go. Why would evolution design a learning machine that deletes its own history? To understand this, we have to look at the hardware. Specifically, a seahorse-shaped structure deep in the temporal lobe called the hippocampus. The hippocampus is essentially the brain's librarian. Its job is to take fleeting moments and consolidate them into long-term storage in the cortex. In an adult, the system is pretty robust. But in a child, the hippocampus is still under heavy construction. It's not fully online in the way we need it to be for complex narrative memory. The neural networks required to bind the who, what, where, and when of an event together just aren't fully connected yet. Imagine trying to file a complex tax return, but your filing cabinet is made of Jell-O. You can put the papers in there, but good luck finding them later. But there is another layer to this, a software issue, and it has to do with language. This is the narrative scaffolding theory. Think about how you remember things today. You tell yourself a story. I went to the store. I bought milk. I saw a guy wearing a pirate hat. You use words to structure the memory. A 2-year-old doesn't have that scaffold. They experience the world as a raw stream of sensation. Bright light, loud noise, hunger, comfort. Without the vocabulary to tag those experiences, without the ability to say, I am eating a banana, the brain has no index system to retrieve the event later. It's basically a file saved with no file name. So, between the immature hippocampus and the lack of language, it seems like a closed case. The recorder wasn't on, and we didn't have the words to write the script. But recently, neuroscientists found something that complicates this whole picture. a twist that suggests we aren't just failing to save memories, we might actively be destroying them. There's a biological process called neurogenesis. It's the birth of new neurons. For a long time, we thought adults didn't grow new brain cells. We now know this isn't true, particularly in the hippocampus. But in infants, neurogenesis is happening at an explosive rate. Their brains are sprouting new neurons like weeds in a garden. This sounds like a good thing. More neurons means more processing power, right? Well, yes. But imagine you have a library. The books are the memories. Now imagine a construction crew comes in and starts rapidly installing new shelves, moving the aisles, and knocking down walls to make the library bigger. What happens to the books that were already there on the shelves? They fall off. They get buried under drywall. The cataloging system breaks down. Research published in the journal Science suggests that high levels of neurogenesis, this rapid growth of new brain cells, actually disrupts existing memory circuits. In order for the infant brain to learn so quickly, to adapt to this terrifyingly complex world, it has to constantly remodel itself. And the price of that remodel is the destruction of the old architecture. We forget our early childhood not because our brains are failing, but because they are working too well. The brain is prioritizing the ability to learn new things over the ability to dwell on the past. It is an act of biological ruthlessness. The child you were is literally overwritten by the child you become. There is something slightly sad about that. The idea that our first years are the price of admission for the rest of our lives. But I don't think we should view it as a total loss. Remember the distinction between episodic memory, the story, and implicit memory, the feeling? Just because you can't recall the video footage of being 2 years old doesn't mean those years didn't shape you. The dark matter of your childhood is still there. The comfort you feel from a certain smell, your reflex to trust or not trust strangers, your anxieties, your baseline happiness, those are all artifacts of those lost years. The architecture of your personality was built by events you will never remember. You don't remember the hands that held you when you were crying at 6 months old, but your nervous system remembers that it was held. And that sense of safety became the foundation for how you love other people today. The story is gone, the feeling remains. And maybe that's enough. I want to hear from you. What is your earliest verifiable memory? I mean, a real moment you can corroborate. And how old were you? Let me know in the comments. If this sort of content interests you, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps my channel out more than you think it might. Thanks for watching. Be kind to each other and take care.